Sin City Tattoos. Today we're going to go ahead and take a tattoo machine just like you got it from your eBay kit or whatever. One of these Chinese import machines. I'm using this as an example because it's one of the most prevalent machines that people come into my shop and say, yeah, I got my eBay kit, I'm going to go blast my homies. And these are the types of machines that are being used for that. By people that tattoo at their house or whatever. Anyway, we're going to be using the same parts that this machine came with. We're not going to be changing anything. All we're going to do is find out whether or not right out of the box it's a liner or a shader, and we're going to set it up today as a liner. I'm going to set this up as a liner, but so follow me through the steps and we're going to get started. Okay, I'm going to open this up. First thing I'm going to do is, before I start anything, I'm going to make sure this armature bar nipple is dead center over the top of the tube vise. And the reason that that's what I'm going to start with first is because most of the time you get one of these import machines and it's not. You end up having to notch this spring out, this back spring, in order to slide it back further so that you can line it up. Anyway, okay, and it shows that this one is not dead center, okay? Just like I thought. So what that means is we're going to have to end up taking this off, and we're going to take this rear spring and we're going to cut the notch in it deeper so that we can slide this whole armature bar back a little bit, giving us the ability to keep this armature bar nipple straight over the top of the tube vise. Okay, so before we do that, I'm going to do that with a Dremel. I'm going to because if that's not lined up straight, you're not going to tattoo anyway. So now that that's done, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to check the spring tension on this machine. The only thing that makes a machine a liner or a shader is spring tension, not the gap in the contact screw in the front spring, not how many volts you're running your machine at, not how fast you move your hand. The only thing that makes a machine a liner or a shader is spring tension. And spring tension is measured from up here, but you get the spring tension from the rear spring. So what I'm going to do, tighten this tube vise down, keep everything dead center, okay? I'm going to go ahead, and this is so we don't get lost later, I'm going to tighten this down just a little bit where this is dead center, okay? The reason is because I've got more slot in my spring and I can go further back, but I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to create a line back here so I know where my bend point is, okay? You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's just snug this down. Okay, this is snug right at where this is top dead center. It sounds like I'm working on a car. Okay, this is nipple bar, or armature bar nipple is dead center over the tube vise. Okay, this is snug down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a marker, okay, and I'm going to take on this round washer, which in my opinion should be a flat washer anyway, but we're going to create a bend point. That way when I take this apart and I turn it back, I know where to slide this and bend at, okay? Otherwise it's a guess. So, now that we've done that, let's loosen this back up, okay? We're going to spin this around, okay? Now we're going to slide this to the bend, to where that bend point is on there, okay? We're going to bend upward a little bit, okay? It was 250, I think, grams of tension, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and snug this back up once I make double sure that we're back at the center, okay? Okay, back at the center. Go ahead and tighten this bad boy down. You don't have to over crank it, just don't have to put a welder on it neither, like I got it out of the bag. It's all super tight. Good Lord, Steve Austin couldn't loosen that shit. Okay, now, okay, we are over the center, and now we're going to check the grams of tension.
This tool, by the way, you can buy it. I really recommend you buy it. Don't say, oh, I just do it by feel or I just bend it. Okay, that's random. You cannot guess 450 grams of tension just by bending it. You're not superhuman. Eliminate the randomness out of every equation if you can, and this does that. This eliminates the randomness. Okay? Remember I said 400 to 450 is a liner. Okay, look here. The armature bar just touches the front coil. Okay? We're right about 425. Right. Yeah, we're right about 425. Measuring that, and when you measure this, also, what you're looking to do is you're just pushing this armature bar down far enough until it barely touches the front coil. Okay. Looking at it from this side, you can see that the armature bar just hits the front coil, and that's where you take your measurement like that. Okay. So far, we've taken this machine, we've cut the spring back, the rear spring back, so that we can make sure that this armature bar nipple is straight over the tube vise. We've adjusted the spring tension from 250 to 450, and we've done those two things so far. Now what we're looking to do is put your finger on this armature bar nipple, press down, okay? This armature bar is always supposed to hit the front coil first. This is too much gap between this armature bar and the rear coil post. It's too much gap. I would put a washer in there to shim it up. I would probably put a 1 on there. And you know, matter of fact, I'll say I may do that now. No, I won't do that now. We're just gonna do spring tension, okay? So anyway, just be aware that when you do put this armature bar down, that rear coil gap between the top of the coil and the armature bar, you should be able to put a dollar bill in there and pull it down and it grab it, but be loose enough to pull out. This, you could shove a damn book of matches through there and it'll pull out. Anyway, you know what? Let's take the coil off because I'm going to be ridiculous. It's going to bug me and it's not going to be right, and I want to do that. So let's go ahead and take the armature bar back off. I'm just being finicky, but I want this stuff to be right. I see all these videos on YouTube, and there's some good ones, but there's some crap-ass crap. How do you like that for articulation? Anyway, when you loosen a coil, just so you all know, there's this really thin wire that runs from coil to coil in the very bottom here on the back. You're not going to see it right here. You want to hold your thumb on these coils when you turn this bottom nut, and what that does is it prevents the coil from turning and you pulling that wire out. And your coils are shit, no good, replace them. Okay, so let's find the right tool here, and that's not it. China keeps me guessing. Let's just use this. Okay. There we go. Loosen that and apply a lot of pressure with your thumb on that coil. You don't want those coils to spin, okay? Because if they do, you're going to tear those wires and they will be worthless, okay? Now, we're just going to do the rear coil. So I'm just going to loosen this rear coil. I'm going to back this screw all the way out, and I'm not going to let it fall because then it will tear the coil wire too. And it really doesn't matter. It's an $8 damn machine. Put another 50-cent pair of coils on there. Anyway, I'm sorry being rude. Back this all the way out. Okay, don't let this fall. See if I can back this out, get it out by hand. Another trick, you can also take these coils and pack them with stainless steel, like those stainless steel pads. Okay, we're going to take this screw out and keep everything straight up and down, okay? We're going to take this screw out. And this part's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's necessary. If you want your equipment to perform correctly, you've got to take the steps in setting it up right. Okay? We're going to fish around in my little box of goodies here, and I'm going to find a washer, just like this one. Okay? I'm going to slide it up in here, as everything else moves on me. It's okay. Use your little Allen wrench or another spring that you have handy to keep everything, because these little washers have holes and the bottom of these coils have holes, and everything has to line up just perfect. It sounds harder than it is, and now that I'm videoing it, it's going to be a pain in the ass. But every other time I do it, it's not so bad. That's just how this shit works. Okay, slide this over. There we go. Now, put my screw in through the top. And this may be too high. I may need another a slimmer washer on the bottom, but we're going to find out. We will find out together. Woo! It's a date. Okay. And I'm just... You're right. Now we're going to go ahead and listen to this machine. Quick. Let's see here. And these springs, these springs and these machines that come right out of the box or right out of the eBay kit, generally they're really stiff springs. Some of the edges are really jagged and they're not smoothed down. You want to take your, file and file them smooth, otherwise you're going to eat up O-rings and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and turn this machine on. I've got it Chinese jump. At some point you ought to take your machine, if you're using one of these little kit machines, take all the plastic off it and turn it over to metal parts. It's much better. Okay. Go ahead and turn this on. Okay, I'm going to tighten my contact screw, my locking nut on my contact screw down. What I'm doing is I'm just listening to this machine. What I'm talking about on that figure 8 and that loose figure, two separate circles, is right here. I'm going to show you real quick. As a liner, see the armature bar nipples right here in the grommet? You can see the little two circles on there. Okay. Now it's spread apart. Now it's two circles just barely touching. Okay, let me bring it in a little closer at more of an angle. Okay, spread apart. Now they're just touching. It's a tighter figure 8. That's what we're looking for. Okay.